everyone, so this is a video that I've wanted to film for a really long time. I've always wanted to be like a really tattooed person, you know, like with like the full sleeves and loads of black work, and I've been getting tattooed for about a year, so I've worked my way up to have quite a few tattoos in that time, and I thought it was time to even though everything's not finished at the moment, to just like go through a tattoo journey with you. That way in 6 months time, when say like my first sleeve is completely finished, or if I've started another one, you know, I can really like compare it and show you how far I've come. So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm going to start like right at the beginning. I started getting tattoos in January 2018, and I started to go to a local tattoo place in Birmingham city centre. I'm not going to name the tattoo place on here because there's quite a lot of drama, as you might have seen from the thumbnail. If you go onto my Instagram, which is in the description bar below, there's a whole Instagram story about this whole situation on there, and you can see for yourself, but I just don't want to mention any names in the video. But if you are interested to find out the whole story, just go and look on there. The prices seemed like pretty good. I wasn't really sure like what the going rate was for a tattoo. I didn't know that people charge by the hour or if they charge by the piece or whatever. So I went there and the prices seemed decent, and I only got a small tattoo for my first one. Like, I would look at my tattoos and look at other people's tattoos, and I was like, mine don't look that great. And then me and my boyfriend went to get a tattoo together there, and then a few weeks later he decided to go to his friend's tattoo artist, who is an apprentice, and I went there as well and sat with him while he got his tattoo, and she was like looking at my tattoos and she was like, they don't look normal. And basically, long story short, she looked at my tattoos and told me basically they were causing me keloid scarring. I would always get like big spots on them, and they would scab for weeks. Like, swelling's normal, but this swelling would last for like a week, and it just like it wouldn't go away no matter how much ibuprofen I took. There would be like a little bit of plasma and ink leaking out of your tattoos is completely normal, but this was like excessive, to the point where like even like a week after I had like a leg tattoo, like my socks would still be like covered in like ink and like gross stuff that came out of my tattoo. And I just like all in all was like, well, I've never had tattoos before, so I didn't know that that wasn't normal. I've kept it as clean as I've been told to, you know, I've done my research online. So after about 6 months of going to this same tattoo artist, I started going to my boyfriend's tattoo artist, which is the tattoo artist I have now. But again, she's an apprentice, so she's charging actually half the rate that I was paying with the first tattoo artist I was going to, and she's like a million times better. I'll put some like before and after photos of rework that she's done. She has done like original pieces on me as well, but for like 6 months I've just been getting rework because of how bad the stuff was before. I go into my new tattoo artist and I realised that so many things were wrong. A friend of mine left a review on our original tattoo artist page saying, well, it was like a photo of his tattoo and what the tattoo was supposed to look like, and it was awful. And we just kind of like, I responded to the review saying this is exactly what happened to me. I'm left with keloid scarring, like the ink is literally falling out of my skin on places like arms. Like fingers and hands is normal, but like arms and legs, like the ink shouldn't really be falling out in places like that. It turns out he'd gone too deep with the needle and my skin just rejected it. So because we put these bad reviews on their Facebook page, the guy who runs the tattoo place basically came for us in our direct messages. He said something completely homophobic to my friend. The place ended up taking reviews off their page went down for a while. The manager of the outlet that they're in was contacted about their abuse. They said something abusive to me. They said that the reason that my tattoos were so scabby was because my hygiene was so poor. I actually went to my new tattoo artist and she was like, I've been tattooing you for ages, there's nothing wrong with your hygiene. I was like, I don't understand why he would say that. He basically said that I didn't keep it clean enough. I definitely kept it clean enough. I did all the aftercare steps, and they were just shit. Like, as well as just being like painful, but they were just unprofessionally done. The artwork was really bad as well. Like, I've got a before and after picture of my lion that I've got here, and you just won't believe the difference of when I first had it done to what it looks like now. After that, they said that it was a fake profile that said all these abusive things to their customers and that they have such a strong clientele. And you know what they do? Some people like literally were so sticking up for them, and it was crazy, honestly. Like, it was awful. Obviously, I don't want to go into too much detail about that on the video. Like I've said before, it's on my Instagram page. I'm not going to take it down because I do want that scab cabin shut down, because they literally ruined my skin. They've cost me so much money, not just the money I paid for the tattoos, but the fact I've had to have everything reworked again. It's just like, it's cost me so much money, and not just money but time. I wanted to have all of this done now, but because I literally have to spend, like, every time I go it takes 2 hours to fix the next thing. It's annoying. My leg tattoos still need going over. I am going to show you them in this video so that if I end up getting them fixed at any point, you can see the before and after. I'm not going to pretend that they look good, because they don't. So I can't actually like deal with tattoo pain. I always numb no matter what. Like, even if I'm having like a whole day sitting, the numbing cream will only last for 2 hours, but that gives me like a 2 hours of pain free. So it's kind of only like 3 hours of pain rather than 5. But obviously, like, when I have stuff reworked, that takes like 1 to 2 hours, so the numbing cream's still effective then. And especially going over scarring or old tattoos is more painful than going on a fresh area. The numbing cream I get it from eBay, and they do actually sell it in tattoo shops. I know that when I went to my original tattoo artist, they would charge me £10 a tube for this cream, and like, it worked really well. So I was like, I've got to get myself some of this cream, because that's just too expensive, like £10 a tube. And I found it on eBay, and I think I got 10 tubes for £15, and I will put the link to that in the description bar, because it literally just does me so many favours. However, it's important that you ask your tattoo artist if you can use numbing cream with their work, because I know that some artists won't work on skin that's been numbed. I'm not sure why that is. Apparently it makes the blood settle differently, and it makes it more difficult to tattoo. I'm not sure. I've had no difference in the healing of my tattoos or the process of my tattoos when I've used numbing cream versus when I haven't. The numbing cream that I use is TKTX. You can get it in like loads of different colours. I'm not sure what the different colours mean, but obviously it says like 39.9% numbing. It takes 25 minutes. I usually leave it on for an hour to an hour and a half. Like, the longer that you leave it to numb, the longer it will last. You like slather it on, leave a thick even layer, and then wrap it in cling film, and then leave it for about an hour. And that is how I numb before I get tattoos. In the beginning, I think that everyone uses Bepanthen. It's usually like the most common thing that people tell you about to use on a tattoo, and obviously that's just like nappy cream that you can get from like Tesco or whatever. The problem that I had was with Bepanthen is that it was too thick. It was painful to rub in when my tattoos were healing, and this meant I either didn't cream my tattoos enough, or I creamed them too thickly because I couldn't rub it into the skin. Because of this, it would clog my pores, my tattoos would get really sticky, and like things would stick to them, and I just didn't like it. And I would get spots on my tattoos as well from using the Bepanthen. So I had to look into other methods of aftercare. Favourite tattoo aftercare since not using Bepanthen anymore is Tattoo Goo from Superdrug. This is £6. And all the products that Tattoo Goo sell in Superdrug are £6, so there's 4 items. However, you can buy a box with all 4 things in for £12.99, so you essentially get 2 items free. And you do need most of the things in the box to maintain your tattoo. So this is a cream, and it applies really thinly and like softly, like you don't have to work it in like the Bepanthen. This one is my favourite, and it lasts absolutely ages. The cream doesn't last so long, but this is essentially like, it has the texture of Vaseline, but it's not the same as Vaseline, because a lot of people say you shouldn't use Vaseline on tattoos, but this like doesn't, like, it goes like kind of sticky, but it's like it rubs in eventually. So this is like a little like salve that you put on your tattoos, and it smells like lavender. I don't like that smell so much, but it is really great. Like, this absolutely, like, I've noticed my tattoos heal so much better since I've been using Tattoo Goo. This I use mainly like in the day if I'm not wearing sleeves and nothing's going to stick to it. The cream I use at night because it rubs into the skin. It leaves like a protective barrier over it, and obviously I work with food, I work with heat. Like, when tattoos get under the heat lamps, it can be really painful, especially when they're fresh. Also get Tattoo Goo Renew. Now, I've never actually used this, but I have like so many tattoos I could use it on. It's essentially like a lotion that's like a sun cream that's meant to like revive older tattoos and keep them vibrant. The Tattoo Goo soap, And this literally smells like, if you know, like the green soap smell at tattoo places. It's antibacterial, antimicrobial, and it's pH balanced. This honestly has been a saviour since I've been getting tattoos. For the first like 4 days, I wash it with this rather than using like hand soap or anything with fragrance in. And I honestly think that this is the reason that my tattoos heal so much better now than what they used to. So this was my first tattoo, and it says I refuse to sink. It's obviously upside down to everyone else, but it's the right way around for me. I'm eventually going to take this shading into the middle of the tattoo so there's like a glow around the writing. I did have a little mermaid silhouette underneath, but I had it covered because it just kind of looked manky and like a lobster claw. So on the other side of my wrist I have like a small mandala that just finishes off the sleeve. I didn't really want to go too far onto my hand, so I just stopped just above the wrist. It's got fresh dot work in it. It was just like plain before. The next thing I have is a semicolon on my finger. I'm sorry that my hands look really dirty on this. Basically, the lighting wasn't great, so I've adjusted the saturation, but it just kind of makes my hands look really grey. It's so strange, but yeah, my hands are completely clean. So this is a mental health awareness symbol that I had. A lot of people have it on their wrist, but I got it on my finger because I just thought it looked cuter there. So this was the next tattoo that started going up my arm, and basically it's an anchor that I basically found on Google. It was like a little clip art, so it's not the best, but it's just got some shading around the writing, and I've left it quite hollow. Sorry that my hands are moving so much. I was talking when I was filming this, but it just didn't, there was a lot I wanted to cut out, so I've gone into voiceover. So yeah, so we've got the anchor, and then we've got some lyrics from You Me at Six's Always Attract. And this was my first tattoo that like had like writing on. Apart from the I refuse to sink, obviously I like having lyric tattoos. And it says my heart is out at sea. I will put a picture here of how the tattoo looked for about 6 months before I started having it actually worked on and having the roses added behind. So I've got 6 roses going from the start of my first tattoo up to my elbow. It goes in the ditch of my elbow and then goes towards the like actual bone part. I've had these touched up quite a few times because they were done by my first tattoo artist, so they weren't the best. They look a lot better now. I need to work on having some white put in them. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how they've turned out now. And the leaves aren't the best, but obviously we had to work with what was there from before. But these are tattoos that I actually like a lot now that they've been redone. So this is my pretty candy school lady. Obviously, she's in a really awkward place, so it's kind of hard to show on the video. But this was another rework. I'm hoping that like when the shading all heals, it's going to look a lot more even. Obviously, at the moment, the black off the shading is so fresh that it just looks completely out of place, but I promise it will all tie in eventually. The next thing I have is on the other side of my arm, and it's a skeleton hand with some cards. I believe this is called a dead man's hand in poker. I'm not really sure. I just really like the idea of having playing cards, and obviously I've got a lot of like skull and skeleton theme throughout my tattoo. So this was actually my first tattoo by my artist that I go to now, and it's basically just a planchet with some cute little like hand on it. I'm not gonna lie, this is just a Pinterest tattoo. I know some YouTubers slate other people for having Pinterest tattoos. I personally, it's on my body, it's not on your body, so it's not actually your business. If you endorse tattoos, you actually can't moan about what other people have on their body unless it's offensive or it targets a group in society. Like, just leave everyone alone. So here is a little skull with a rose coming out of it. My new tattoo artist has worked really hard on fixing this because it was so awful and like liney before, whereas now it's actually got some depth and some shading. It looks a lot better. Here's a picture of what it looked like before. I'm really happy with how it's turned out, and it really does match in with the sleeve well with the whole skull and roses theme. I like the whole gothic vibe. So this is a little coffin with a ship and some flowers. It says smooth seas don't make good sailors, and that is a neck deep song. As you can tell from the fact I'm also wearing a neck deep top in this video, you can see how that I like neck deep and I like lyric tattoos. So the next thing I have is a like really like kind of cartoonish Wednesday Addams with some roses, and these are the same roses that I actually have here. However, like you can see, they're a lot neater because my new tattoo artist has done them. I wish they all looked like that, but unfortunately they don't. I found this image on Instagram. I've later found out that I think it's part of a clothing company, but I'm not actually sure. I just thought that it was really cute and it's really gothic. I like the black makeup on it. But I really love like Wednesday Addams. She's like the OG goth. Like I think that like growing up watching the Addams Family kind of made me like this now. Um, but yeah, I absolutely love this tattoo. It's a really standout piece. I wish it wasn't where it was because again I don't get to see it a lot, but I really do love it. And it says "I hate everything," which is a really famous Wednesday Addams quote. So this was like just a gap filler that I found on Pinterest again. It's on like the really fatty, fleshy part of my arm, so it actually was really painful to have done. I did use numbing cream, but it was just so painful right there, and it's not healed very well because the area is so like fleshy, and you know your gal's kind of chubby. Um, the idea is that all the shading will fill in all the gaps. I'm going to have like darker shading going throughout. There'll be like no gaps on it. I'm going to work some white into the places that need highlights as well. I just want the sleeve to be like as one piece on this side. So I also have like negative shading in the shape of a heart on my elbow. This was really painful. I did this without numbing cream, and I really wish that I'd used some numbing cream because even though that it's not right on the elbow, like the main point of the elbow, it was still really painful. So yeah, when this gets finished, the shading is going to go all up there, up to my shoulder. I'm going to have some roses in that like peppery shading come over my shoulder towards the front of my chest, but not directly on the chest because my mom said no. So this tattoo I hated for so long, as you can see from this picture that I'm going to show you now. It was so awfully done, and I didn't really like the mandala style, but we had to do something to fix it. And honestly, my tattoo artist has worked miracles fixing this because it was absolutely awful, but I'm so happy with it now. And I just love the whole black line work. It's exactly what I wanted in the beginning, and it matches the mandala on my other wrist. So apologies for the super chubby leg, but this is a Michael Myers piece that I have on my thigh. He's my favourite like fictional villain, and eventually I want like my whole thigh covered in the villains in this style, but obviously he is my most favourite one, so he had to go on there first. So these are actually my worst tattoos and the ones that I am most embarrassed about. I wish that I'd thought them through a little bit longer. I do love punk Disney, and obviously I'm obsessed with Ariel, but I just don't like them anymore. Like they're really cute flash pieces, but I wish I didn't have the writing which says dreams we have as kids all fade away. It's from a McFly song, and obviously like I've been obsessed with McFly for a long time, but they're just really poorly done. They didn't heal well. You can see that they're just the lines are all shaky, and I think there's actually a mistake on the S in as. And the writing's all faded. Like I said, like this rejected quite bad. Like a lot of the ink fell out as well, and they just scabbed over awfully and didn't heal nicely. So my last tattoos are my calf tattoos, and I have Jason Voorhees and Ghostface. Obviously, I've said that I love horror films, and these were part of a Halloween flash sheet that my tattoo artist was doing, and I absolutely love them. They're done so well, and I'm just really happy with them. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more tattoo and piercing videos, let me know. And please like and subscribe. All my social medias are in the description bar below, as well as a link to my Instagram where that story I was talking about at the beginning is on there. And thanks for watching. Bye!